All right, we are here today to do the part 2 review and basically overview on the Southeast FPV frame. I did an initial video on this about a month and a half ago, and I told you I was going to do a head-to-head comparison with a standard frame. It took me a while to get around to doing that, basically because I wanted to find, number one, somebody that was consistent enough, and more consistent actually than me, that would feel the minute differences, and to basically get a professional opinion on it. I flew it, I felt the differences, but I wanted to get somebody else's opinion because I felt like I had a preconceived expectation of what it was going to do because of seeing other people's videos. Anyway, the one person that I thought of that I wanted to do this video, and luckily he agreed to do it. I think I blew up his phone enough that he just finally gave in to get me off his case, was Conrad Miller, aka Furadi. If you don't know who he is, what are you doing watching my channel? But anyway, Conrad, if you don't mind, tell everybody kind of who you are, your background, and the reason, well, I think the reason why I asked you to do the video.
Hey guys, first time here on Rick's channel, and like you said, he invited me out to fly his frames, and I'm pretty much always down to come out and fly. If someone says fly my stuff, I'm like, heck yeah. So, and then plus he wanted me, you know, to compare this, so it was interesting. Anyway, so I've been racing FPV since 2015, and you know, for the last 2 years I was racing professionally for Thrust UAV, and now I'm just kind of like backing away from national racing and just doing it for fun, but like you said, I do have a lot of experience racing and practicing and comparing different frames, so to me it also made sense to come out and do the comparison with them.
Excellent, and again, thank you for doing this. What we're doing is, obviously we've got the Southeast FPV box frame. I learned about it watching Johnny Fly's videos, and basically the
Very good pilot.
The idea behind the frame is that you've got your full enclosure box around the outside of a vertical arm frame. The front support arm and the rear support arm are supposed to basically act as hydrofoils to give you a little extra lift, and your side rails, in theory, act as rudders to help carve through the corners. We're comparing it against a standard frame. This is kind of a clone of a Floss 2, but I picked this one basically because it had almost exactly the same wheelbase as the box frame. So we set it up with the same stacks, same motors, same cameras to give it a true comparison. I tried not to tell Conrad too much about the box frame because I didn't want to like skew his opinion. I just basically sent him out here. We started flying batteries, and just warming up on his first battery, he already picked out a few of the key points, which I thought was really interesting. But go ahead and kind of tell us what you thought, the differences between the two, negatives, positives, that kind of thing.
Okay. So yeah, like he was saying, I flew 3 packs through the conventional frame, and it felt pretty normal. Compared to what I'm used to, it felt a little, you know, mild, but totally competitive. And then looking at the box frame, I had asked him what the weight difference was, because, you know, one thing I look at if someone wants to, you know, compare frames, one of the first things I ask is how much does it weigh, because usually weight is enough of a factor to just like determine which way to go. So it's what, it's like 30 grams heavier?
30.
So I didn't have high expectations. I was like, it's heavy. And I thought the concept was that the box shape was supposed to, you know, be more aerodynamic or something, like as if these arms have drag. So I honestly had pretty low expectations. Like I said, I like, you know, I fly for fun. You know, flying with other people is fun. So I was like, I figured I'd just come out here and have fun. But the first time I flew this, when I was warming up, I had a couple of weird sensations. The first was that it felt, going through the air, that it was less turbulent. I was like, okay, I'll give it that. The arms are thin, whatever. But then I started noticing going down the straightaway, and maybe you'll add some DVR footage in here.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed going down the straightaway that it was rising in the middle of the straightaway, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I also noticed And this was about halfway through the first pack. When I was coming around the corners, the quad wasn't on the path that I expected. So when you come around a corner, you're expecting a certain amount of momentum to push you out, and you have to counter with throttle. And it wasn't doing that. I would come around a corner and it would be like 5 feet to the left of where I anticipated. So I was having to correct mid-corner. And I guess, like he's saying, what it comes down to is the side braces are acting like rudders. And I'm just gonna be straight up, guys. That sounds like BS to me. You hear something like that and you're like, okay, sure. Like, you know, nobody's doing anything different with quad frames. But
they're pretty standard anymore.
They're pretty conventional. They're pretty like there's not much. It's like features is what you're looking for. Different features. But this frame does not drift as much as a conventional frame, even with the added weight. And I flew like 3 more packs through it after that. It doesn't drift. It feels very robotic. You point it into a corner and it stays on that line like a slot car. It's a weird sensation.
You compared it to a simulator earlier.
Yeah, it's like I would call it the simulator quad, because simulators to me don't have realistic momentum. I mean, I guess you can adjust that with the physics, but I never got that much into it. But yeah, you put it on the line and it just stays on the line, and you don't have to account for momentum swing or drift. It's really, like, for me, it's a really weird sensation, and it would take a lot of getting used to. But yeah, it just holds a line, and then because of the it's acting like an airfoil. When I was going down the straightaway, it was just picking up, and I guess that what's the word? So you think it's going to be heavy, but the aerodynamics of the box counteracts the weight.
Right.
It picks it up. So like I'm going down the straightaway, and you'll see in the footage, I'm going down the straightaway and I'm having to cut the throttle because it's trying to go up. And like, I think, was it the first pack I hit the gate?
Yeah.
Because it was like it was higher than I expected it to be.
Yep.
It's crazy, guys.
It didn't, when you back off the throttle a little bit, it didn't drop like you were expecting. It just kind of kept on even plane.
Yeah. So I guess to summarize, you know, there's a lot of hype in the industry. There's a ton of hype. And I had zero expectations coming to this, except for that this quad was going to fly like a heavy quad. It doesn't. It probably is using more battery because there is going to be that added drag. But it doesn't fly like it's a 300-gram quad, and it flies on rails. It's like a simulator. So I mean, yeah, it's like, it was a really, really, really unique experience. And that's, you know, for me, after flying for 4 years,
yeah, there's very
to have something that's surprising,
right,
is really surprising.
Unique experiences are good after that much flight time.
Yeah, it's far and few between.
Right.
Yeah.
So, drawbacks to this frame today.
Drawbacks. I feel like it's gonna use more battery because of the airfoil effect. There's that added drag, and we noticed when the wind started picking up, it was really getting pushed offline. Just because it's basically got wings.
There's a lot of surface area.
Yeah, it's basically got wings. Like I noticed, compared to the conventional frame, that like just with a slight breeze, I really kind of felt it. I guess, you know, being that it's not conventional, you could probably get used to it.
If you're flying this solely versus, you know,
something like that.
Frame.
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway, the biggest key point is that it surprised me.
Right on. That's kind of what I was going for. I was hoping to get not just it flies like every other quad I've ever flown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, full disclosure, this top plate is sitting 5 millimeters lower than normal. There was just a lot of dead space, so I put 5 millimeter shorter standoffs on it just to kind of compact it a little bit. But other than that, this is what you get.
Yeah, it's like I came into this with really low expectations.
Yeah.
I figured we would just hang out and have fun.
Right.
And I almost had like a part of me almost felt like I came into this with like a little bit of guilt because like I was like I'm already I've already like flown every type of frame. I know what to expect. I know what it's gonna do, and I'm not gonna have any like good information for you.
I'm gonna do this and get him off my case. Stop calling me all the time.
But yeah, I'm truly surprised. I'm truly surprised that it does not fly like a conventional quad. It flies very robotic, very on rails, very floaty for the weight, and yeah, it's the simulator quad.
Well, there you go.
It's interesting.
It's now called the simulator quad nationwide.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. That's what we wanted to accomplish today. I wanted to get, like I said, an expert opinion on standard versus evidently the new rage in Europe is what I've been told. This is what everybody's going to. We'll see if it takes off in the States. I don't know. But I noticed the same thing when I flew it. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't just my preconceived notions of what it was going to be like. And I wanted to get an unbiased expert opinion, and I think we got it. But thank you very much, number one, for coming out. I appreciate it. Hopefully I just didn't guilt you into coming out and doing this. I hope you had a good time. And I hope you come out and fly some more with us. This was a lot of fun today. I really appreciated it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the invite.
You betcha. Thank you.